Chris Wittyngham, MLS broadcaster nationally for Apple TV, and we are lucky to get him occasionally on the Inter Miami radio broadcast here on 560 WQAM. He was on the call last night, and he will be on the call Saturday night, and that's kind of exciting. Play the goal. Can you play the Messi goal from last night?
Advantage given as Messi's got it. He goes for goal from long distance and scores from 30 yards out. Lionel Messi gets his 9th of the tournament. Sensational, as only he can do. Messi for 2-0.
That was an amazing goal, Wittyngham, right? You have watched soccer for a long time. That was an amazing goal.
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, they have a way of measuring how good that goal is. There's a stat called expected goals, and it Jesus, I can't misspeak once. My God, man!
Sorry, I was swallowing a drink,
so
but
sorry.
I mean, you didn't give the guest 3 seconds before you had to do that to him.
I couldn't resist, Wittyngham.
Wow,
I'm so sorry. I'm
so
sorry.
So it
was a good goal
the last couple of days, and so he's got a lot of built up. No, go ahead, Wittyngham. Now you've ruined what Wittyngham was going to say.
That was a good goal.
Now look what you've done.
Expected
Solana.
Goal, Witty. I
Now
apologize. I won't happen again. I apologize.
Take it out of the podcast. This,
So basically, they
already has 150 million views.
that goal was basically assigned a value of there was a 1% chance of that goal going in. And so if you look at the distance from which it's taken, it's nearly impossible. To be fair, the Philadelphia Union goalkeeper did not cover himself in glory in either of the first 2 goals, really. If you look at the overall statistical value of Inter Miami's chances like that last night, they actually would have been expected to score fewer than 1 goal. And so the Philadelphia keeper did not do well, but that really is kind of the story. And actually, Philadelphia copped to as much after the game. Opponents of Inter Miami are now scared of them. And they walk onto the field thinking they either have to raise their level to something that they've never previously delivered because they're going against the best player in the world, or they're sort of losing their confidence in their own abilities and can't even deliver their usual level. So I just think there's this level of fear, and I think Andre Blake, the goalkeeper for Philadelphia, displayed that in his lack of correct positioning, in his overall poor performance. There were several other players on the night that normally would deliver higher levels than Philadelphia got, but I think there's a genuine fear factor going against Inter Miami now.
Does that goal normally not even be taken as a shot? Because I don't know, like if Messi's in that position and it's a better league, does he take that shot? Or like I don't know enough about soccer because Solano was telling me like that's one of the longest somethings. I don't know. But I'm like, do people just not take that shot? Because normally that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he hasn't scored a goal from that long of distance in more than 10 years. So I think it's not necessarily about the quality of the goalkeeper that he's facing or the quality of the team that he's facing. I think it's getting his head up and realizing that this player is out of position. And he might have been trying to go chase something if the ball got in behind. But I think he looked up and saw the goalkeeper out of position. It's kind of like when you see sometimes these goals that are scored from the halfway line because they look up, they realize the goalkeeper's off his line. Let me try and chip him. And so I do think it was a recognition that the goalkeeper was out of position. And so, no, he normally does not take shots from that kind of range. If his longest distance is kind of between the 18-yard box and maybe 25 yards out, that's sort of where he's automatic. And that's where he scores his free kick goals from. So I think he will have a long-distance effort from a bit closer. He must have seen something and thought, I can hit the bottom corner from this range, because obviously he can, and the goalkeeper is out of position.
So how are teams in the MLS going to defend Lionel Messi and Inter Miami moving forward? Because they're doing what they want, seemingly, right? They're just kind of running roughshod over the league. And like you said, maybe the other teams are playing a little scared. How is this going to stop for other MLS clubs?
By the way, it's not the MLS, it's just MLS. It's kind of like it's kind of like MLB, where you don't say the MLB, you say MLB.
I'm not so certain.
If I'm going to be corrected on this program, I will do some correcting myself. Okay?
I didn't correct you. That jackass did.
The MLS. So anyway, to answer your question, I do think that opponents are really stuck at the moment, because I think the third goal is most illustrative of this, where you look at Lionel Messi. Robert Taylor was on the ball from Miami. He's on the halfway line, and he had just received the ball from Messi, and he clearly was looking back towards him to maybe give him the ball. and the entire Philadelphia Union defense kind of converges towards Messi, and then Jordi Alba goes flying in behind, and there's nobody there. Why is there nobody there? Because the entire attention of the Philadelphia defense directed towards Messi. And so I actually think in these last couple of games, you go back to the Orlando game as well, Messi has not had an enormous impact in terms of being on the ball and creating a ton. I do actually think opponents are doing a reasonable job of limiting his chances to get the ball in threatening areas. But the flip side of that is there are 10 other players on the field that will take advantage. I also think Philadelphia dedicated a ton of resources to defending Sergio Busquets last night. But again, that leaves space for other players. At times, Miami struggled to find it, but also when Robert Taylor gets his head up and realizes that Jordi Alba is in 40 yards of space, that's because so much attention is being paid towards Lionel Messi. I think the bet that MLS teams are going to make is we take out Messi, we take out Busquets, and even if we overcommit, we will rely upon the fact that the other players on the team are not as good as Messi and Busquets, and eventually they will have enough of an off night where they don't score. But that has not been an effective game plan so far because Robert Taylor's got 4 goals, Jordi Alba's got a goal, Josef Martinez now has 3 goals in this Leagues Cup tournament. Other players are taking advantage of the spaces, and they're good enough to put away those chances.
It is funny though where you go, and part of the strategy is, and hopefully they'll have an off night as well.
Yeah,
and then maybe we can.
I mean, every game of the tournament that Messi has started, they've either hit for 3 or for 4. There has not been an off night yet.
It's pretty amazing. It really is. Now, Lionel Messi is going to have a press conference tomorrow. A lot of Miami sports fans have been waiting for the introductory press conference where he talks about how glad he is to be here. Are you expecting to hear anything out of the ordinary tomorrow, or will it be, yeah, this is everything that I wanted?
I think what I'm really looking forward to hearing about is sort of his decision-making process in coming to Miami and ultimately what led him here. I think we've done a lot of the imposing upon him of his family probably likes it here, and Miami's a great city to live in, and this was kind of the perfect meeting of all the different areas of football converging into the place where he decided to make the decision to come here because he didn't want to go to Saudi because the Barcelona thing didn't quite work out from a financial standpoint, because he didn't want to stay at PSG anymore because there weren't other European clubs interested. And so I do think that you want to hear from him himself why he chose this and ultimately why he's enjoying it so much, because I do think the joy is obvious in every game that you watch. There's an enormous smile on his face, but I think you want to hear from the player himself why he decided to come here. And also, to me, something that I've been really interested in since he arrived is his desire to integrate himself with this team. I know that sounds ridiculous because he's just another player on another team, but in theory, when he's played in Barcelona in the past and he's played in PSG in the past, you would think that these are players that are of his level, Argentinian national team players of his level. This is a completely different experience, and he's sort of gone out of his way to really embrace his teammates, to try and help bring them along. Those players have said themselves, these are the bits of advice that Messi has given me. So I kind of want to hear from him what his approach has been to a completely different soccer experience than one he's ever had before. But generally, he's not a character that's the most outgoing, who's gonna hold court in this press conference. So I do think that you'll be able to glean a few tidbits, but I'm not certain that it's going to be the fireworks show that Lionel Messi talking could potentially be.
Because we know he's got the text thread with all the players, so you wouldn't have been surprised if he didn't give his phone number to Robert Taylor or Harvey Neville.
I mean, not to have a go at those guys, but I do think that like him just participating in the WhatsApp group, like anybody else, is a genuine surprise.
Right. I mean, he's the greatest ever play. Here he is on Commercial Boulevard. I know this is going to sound, you're going to think that I'm making a joke. Will Manso from Local 10 tweeted out his suggestion for the championship parade. And I know we're putting the cart in front of the horse here. Did you see that yesterday, Solana?
I did.
It started where? At the Burger King, maybe, on Commercial Boulevard. And then I think it went past, what's that go-kart track?
Extreme Action Indoor Park?
Extreme Action Park.
Yeah.
It starts at the Wawa.
It starts at the Wawa.
Just, I think, south of 62nd Street. It goes past the Marathon, past the Speedway, past the go-kart place, and then it pulls back through the Executive Airport into Drive Pink Stadium.
So I know this sounds like a goofy question, but if they were to win a championship, would you have a parade in Broward or Miami?
Well, that's a good question.
I know.
They do like to use their facility a fair bit. Like they have this facility, so let's use it. But I don't know. Do you go down 8th Street and parade Lionel Messi down there? Do you go through Doral? What do you?
Seems like it would be a little disingenuous to do that. They don't play anywhere near there.
Well, I do think that they attempt to represent Miami and they
No,
wear
that's
Miami on
fine.
their shirt.
I'm with it, but if you're gonna have one parade,
Have they not captured the attention of Miami enough to warrant a Miami-based parade?
what hasn't Broward done enough to warrant a championship parade? It would be their first one ever.
Yes, it would. And I do think that's a genuine decision. I also kind of wonder if they would do it immediately after. Like, would they do it on Sunday or would they wait until after the season? Because you do have...
Well, I'm not talking about for this tournament. I'm talking about for a championship from the MLS.
Okay.
I was going to say, Witty, I mean, a Leagues Cup parade.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. No, listen.
You'd have an event. You'd have some kind of celebration.
Bring in some food trucks to the parking lot and a dunk tank or something. But I'm talking about an MLS championship. I'm not talking about for this tournament.
Okay. All right. Well, what if they like do the double and win the Leagues Cup and the Open Cup? They have something like after the season, some kind of celebratory something.
I don't know. Well, do you have it in Broward or Dade?
I think you do it in Dade.
Interesting. There's a little bias going on there, a little Dade bias going on there.
I'm currently residing in Broward County, but
is that so? All right,
yeah.
Let me talk to the Kendall resident. Solana, what do you think?
I happen to agree. I think you do it in Dade. I think Inter Miami, the organization, would want to do it in Dade. Clearly, their target audience, Witty, correct me if I'm wrong here, is a Latino community based off a lot of their social media campaigns. So I imagine they'd want to do it in Dade. However, I agree with Hawk. How would Broward County not be offended? We gave you the stadium. We gave you the plot of land for the stadium.
We repaved Commercial Boulevard. We had the Bob's barricades up. We took them down for the traffic.
But could Miami not say Inter Miami rather? Could Inter Miami not say we got rid of the eyesore that was Lockhart Stadium and replaced it with a nice venue that has been used for other events in the Broward County area?
What do you want to do? You're gonna have a parade on the golf course where the stadium is going up? I don't know. I'm voting for Broward on this one. I'm going Broward. I like Will Manso's idea.